Hello, hello. So, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Kickstarter just happened. So, they announced a bunch of stuff about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Kickstarter, about the villain and stuff like that. But the thing I'm going to be looking at today is the Turtles' abilities. They announced all 4 Turtles' abilities and sidekicks. Going to be looking at that, talking about what their abilities could mean for how they play, what their deck might look like, and things like that. Yeah, let's go. Alright, I'm gonna start with my favorite turtle, Leonardo, the blue turtle. He has Splinter as a sidekick, and with his ability at the start of his turn, he's gonna be able to move any fighter 1 space. So this ability, so he's gonna obviously all be about positioning. He's gonna be able to move other fighters or your own fighters around at the start of your turn. So my guess is his deck's gonna rely a lot on how you position your fighters and how the enemy fighters are positioned. Maybe a little bit like Miss Marvel, being in different zones and stuff like that. I think how he plays is gonna be one of the more complex characters in the game. But I think he's gonna be really fun. Yeah. And I also think he might be a little bit like Oda. Maybe he has to flank for certain abilities. That's just a guess. He might not because he only has 1 sidekick, but there might be a little bit to do with flanking as well. Alright, next is Michelangelo. So Michelangelo has April O'Neil as sidekick, and he's the orange turtle for those who don't know. So Michelangelo, his ability is a little weird. He only starts the game with 3 cards in his hand, and his hand limit is 3. So at the end of his turn, if he has more than 3, he has to discard down to 3. And after you play a card, then you draw a card. So obviously he's going to have some insane card draw. My guess is he's going to have a deck with a lot of versatile cards, because you'll only be able to have 3 cards in your hand at the end of your turn. You're going to need to always be able to have at least 1 or 2 of those defense. And only being able to have 3 cards, if you have a lot of reds in your deck and schemes, you might sometimes just not be able to get the defense that you need. So I'm guessing he's going to have a lot of versatiles, so he can be very aggressive and still have cards to defend with. This is a very interesting mechanic that they're adding, changing the hand size limit. Only being able to have 3 at the end of turn seems a little bit small, like a small hand size, but I guess depending on what his cards are like. And I mean, obviously he's going to be drawing a lot, so you're going to choose what card. You're going to be able to fly through your cards and get the cards you need and the cards you want. But having 3 cards in your hand only still seems a little bit small, especially maybe if you're playing against. Although you always do draw cards when you play cards, so I guess you just keep refilling your hand. So yeah, he's going to be an interesting one, that's for sure. All right, next is Raphael. So what Raphael does his ability. Well, first of all, he has Casey Jones as a sidekick, and his ability is when you lose combat, the first time you lose combat in a turn, you gain an action once per turn. So I think this is going to be an interesting ability that's going to have a lot of mind games with it. So I'm guessing he's going to have quite a few small red attacks, maybe some 1s and 2 values. I think he might have some mind games, kind of like with Sun Wukong, where maybe the opponent doesn't want to defend. Maybe you maneuver with Raphael on attack. Maybe the opponent does want to defend in case it's a 1 value attack. They don't want you to gain an action and for you to spend a defense card. So maybe they don't defend, they just take 1 damage. But I think that's going to throw in some mind games, because then you don't defend, and then it turns out he throws a big attack. I don't know what cards he's going to have in his deck, but maybe he's going to have some 4s and 5s. It's for sure probably 5s, maybe even 6s. I don't know. With gaining actions, he might be a little more like the Raptors, actually. Having like 5 as his big attack, maybe 6. We'll see. Anyway, so I think it's going to throw in some mind games. Maybe you don't want to defend sometimes, but then if you don't defend, you might get hit with like a 5 or a 6 and just take a bunch of damage. But I think it's going to be a really interesting one. And last is Donatello. So Donatello, the purple one, has Metalhead as his sidekick. And his ability, I'm glad they finally added this as ability, because I've been waiting expecting them to add this kind of, not exactly this, but an ability like this into the game. So pretty much with Donatello, he's going to have 3 different gadget cards, I guess. I don't know if they're going to be schemes or if they're going to be just combat cards, I don't know, but once you play the card, they have a special purple gadget effect. So once you play a card, you put it underneath your hero card with just the gadget effect showing, and for the rest of the game, you keep that gadget effect. So pretty much, once you play your gadget cards, it just keeps making you stronger. I was expecting, honestly, in Sun's Origin or Slings and Arrows, already at that kind of time, or maybe even Tales to Amaze, I was kind of expecting there to be a character who slowly gets stronger when you play your cards and they upgrade your ability. But yeah, I'm glad they're finally doing it with Donatello. So I'm expecting one of them is probably going to be something with movement. I'm guessing maybe after this card's been played for the rest of the game, you become a move 3 fighter or something like that. I'm guessing maybe starts to move 2. Maybe it's some sort of vehicle like maybe it's escape. No, I don't think it's going to be a skateboard. Might be like their big, what's it called? Their big shell vehicle is maybe one of his gadget cards that lets you be able to move more every turn, or maybe it's just at the start of every turn, move a space or something like that, I'm assuming. The other 2, I don't know what they could be. There could be one maybe for the rest of the game your attacks get, I don't know, like +1 attack or something. Just a little bit of a boost to your attack or something. I don't know what the third one could be. It might be something like card draw. Maybe it's something like Achilles, Angry Achilles, where if you win combat, you draw a card. Or maybe it's going to be something like, I don't know, you have to play a scheme, gain an action. Maybe something like that. Maybe at the end of your turn, you always draw a card. Maybe you and Metalhead can swap spaces before you get attacked or something. I don't know, maybe it's going to be something like that. I'm not sure, but either way, I think this is going to be a very cool character. Yeah, so those are all the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle characters' abilities. So yeah, if you have any ideas of maybe what some of their cards are going to be or how they're going to play, just let me know in the comments. Other than that, yeah, see you later.